Welcome, campers, to the first night of camp. Tonight's story is about two friends who decide to go into a graveyard. What will happen to these friends? Find out what will happen in a story that I call Double Dog Dare You. The wind was blowing strong, and there were no clouds in the sky today. It was foggy earlier in the morning, but now, in the afternoon, the sun was barely coming out. Susie and Maria were walking past the graveyard, something they always did in order to get home. Susie, don't you find it weird and spooky that one day we're going to end up here? Maria said as she pointed to the cemetery. Maria, I don't even want to think about being dead right now. I have so much homework to do. Susie, all you do is worry about homework. You never have fun. Yes, I do have fun. It's called walk across the stage at the end of every month and receive a high honor roll certificate. Maria rolled her eyes, and Susie began to think about what her mother said about eye rolling. If you roll your eyes, they will get stuck like that forever. Susie wondered if Maria's eyes ever got stuck, because she rolled her eyes all the time, even at teachers. Susie, I bet you $5 you won't walk across the graveyard. You're chicken and won't make it to the end of the graveyard and back. Susie felt her heart beginning to run inside of her chest. Even though Susie was afraid, she couldn't let Maria know that. If she did, everyone in her class would laugh at her. I am not chicken. Well, if you aren't a chicken, then you're a dog, because I double dog dare you to go into the graveyard and walk from here all the way to the back and come back here and meet me here. At this point, Susie's heart felt heavier than her book bag. How did she end up in this situation? All she wanted to do was to go home, get her homework done, and make TikTok videos. But instead of doing all that, she was going to the cemetery. Maria pulled out her phone and went on to Snapchat. I'm going to record you going in. Don't look scared on the camera. Your crush is going to watch it later. Maria smiled at Susie as she began to walk into the cemetery. As Susie walked further into the cemetery, Maria thought of a great idea. She was going to scare Susie and then put it on Snapchat. So, Maria ran to the other side of the cemetery. She noticed that this gate was locked, so she climbed over the fence and hid behind the trees. Maria couldn't stop laughing, couldn't stop smiling. She knew this was going to be the best prank ever. However, after a few seconds, she got herself together. Susie was nervous and terrified. She was looking all over the place. She turned her body around like a fan, except she wasn't the one cooling the cemetery. The cemetery was cooling her and giving her goosebumps all over. Susie noticed her arm was covered in goosebumps and started rubbing her arms. Her legs felt like jello. She was shaking like a phone vibrating whenever someone would call it. Susie stopped suddenly when she heard a noise. The noise was coming from behind a tree. She turned around and saw nothing but tombstones and leaves. The wind began to blow again, and Susie wanted to leave, but she had to be brave. Being brave was better than being a chicken. Susie decided that whatever's making the noise, she was going to hide behind a tombstone until it was gone. Susie ran into the grass and found a large tombstone to hide behind. Susie thought of this scary situation as a game of hide and go seek. Whoever or whatever was making that noise was not going to find her because she was the best hide and go seek player at. Susie stopped thinking when she heard her own voice, except she didn't speak. Meanwhile, Maria was still hiding behind the tree waiting for Susie. Then she felt a hand grab her shoulder. Maria jumped up as if she was on a trampoline. Maria turned around and it was Susie, who was smiling at her. Maria said, I was going to scare you, but you made it. You scared me. Now let's go because it's getting dark and I don't like the dark. Okay, Maria, but one thing. I double dog dare you to come check out this neat thing I found when I was walking. Maria said, okay, and she followed the stranger. Meanwhile, Susie was watching Maria walk with a person who looked just like her. Susie was frozen. She couldn't move. She stared at her friend walk with this mysterious stranger who not only looked like her, but sounded like her too. Maria was unaware that she was walking with a stranger. This was not her friend. This was something else, someone else. But it wasn't the real Susie. Maria felt coldness around her body. She felt like she was swimming in a pool filled with ice cubes. Whenever Susie smiled and spoke, maybe it was the wind, maybe it was something else. Maria felt like something was off, but maybe she was just scared. The fake Susie stopped when she got to a grave site and said, look inside, it's empty. I wonder why it's empty. Maria was staring at a large hole in the ground and said, I don't know, but we should go. I don't like this, Susie. I'm getting scared. Just as Maria finished, the fake Susie said, why are you afraid? Are you chicken? Well, guess what? Count to 3 with your eyes closed and you'll feel better. So Maria put her hands in front of her eyes and counted to 3. 1, 2, 3. Maria felt her body being pushed into the empty grave. She started to yell, but nobody could hear her. The real Susie was watching all of this take place and was finally unfrozen. She ran over to help her friend, but when she ran over, the tombstone and the grave that the fake Susie pushed Maria into was gone. Susie started looking around, wondering what she would do. Then she heard her name. Susie, I double dog dare you to turn around. We hope you got chills and thrills during your first night at camp. Don't forget to come back for some more stories.